What up, guys? Grimjeff here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are jumping in and looking at the new Awakening preview, Iron Twins Fortress. They're going to go into some deep details. I'm excited to see it, so let's just go ahead and get it going.
Welcome to another episode of our update preview series dedicated to Awakening. Our last episode discussed the new mechanics of summoning souls and getting blessings for your champions. And today, we're delving deep into the Iron Twins Fortress.
Oh yeah.
A new dungeon where you'll earn the soul coins and soul essence needed for Awakening. This imposing fortress works a little differently to other dungeons. It's divided into the 4 affinities, with its affinity changing each day. Like with the affinity keeps, there will be a set schedule for each day's affinity, meaning you can plan your siege ahead of time. Each affinity will have 15 stages at launch, and your progression is unique to each affinity. This means you can't focus all your efforts getting to stage 15 on the magic affinity, for example, to unlock the stages for all other affinities. Keeping track of the current affinity is vital for success in this dungeon, as you'll see when we break down the Iron Twins skills. As for entering the dungeon, you'll need energy and a new resource,
Of course you will.
Fortress Keys. Like with faction crypts in the Doom Tower, you only get a set number of Fortress Keys each day, 6 to be exact. So make sure you use them. If you fail a stage, you won't lose a Fortress Key, but you will lose the energy, so keep an eye on your reserves.
There it is. There's the
We
cost.
know how to enter the fortress, now let's talk about its masters, the Iron Twins.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, because with the Doom Tower, you don't lose anything with the keys, and they're like, okay, they can keep playing this and basically get it for free. That's why they went with the energy. They want to make it cost something. Give you a chance to buy back in if you keep trying harder stages. Yeah, makes sense.
As soon as you enter the dungeon, you launch straight into a battle with the Iron Twins. There are no waves of minions to fight here. This is a good thing, given that the Iron Twins are as tough as literal nails. You know, being a huge metal monstrosity. But before we dive into the Iron Twins' individual skills, we need to talk about Iron Brand, their unique unblockable and unremovable debuff. On its own, Iron Brand does nothing, but you should keep a sharp eye on the debuff's duration on each of your champions. The Iron Twins have a super powerful skill that does major damage depending on the current duration of any Iron Brand debuffs, so failing to manage this debuff is a recipe for disaster. With that out of the way, let's dig into
72.
exactly what the
Holy
Iron
cow.
Twins have in their arsenal. The first skill is Voltaic Pendulums. This sees the Iron Twins firing 2-bladed pendulums at one champion, decreasing their crit rate and then placing a weaken debuff if they already have crit rate debuffs. The twins then electrocute the rest of the party, first decreasing their attack
Like you would.
before then decreasing the defense of each champion who has a decrease attack debuff on them. Talk about shocking. So, first tip, bring a champion who can cleanse debuffs or block them entirely. While it won't negate Iron Brand, it will take any other debuffs the Iron Twins can throw at you off the table. Trust us, you'll need to be at your full strength if you want to come out on top. Next up, Fires of Insanity. The Iron Twins scorch your entire party and place Iron Brand debuffs on each champion, with the duration of each
Fair
Iron
enough.
Brand dependent on each champion's defense stat. The champion with the highest defense gets 10 turns of Iron Brand, the next highest gets 9, the next gets 8, and so on. If a champion already has an Iron Brand debuff on them, its duration is simply increased by that same number of turns. That's not all. Oh no. Every time the Iron Twins use this skill, their defense stat increases by a set amount for the rest of the battle, with extra increases for every champion with a different affinity to theirs. This is why you need to pay attention to the dungeon's current affinity. Bring champions with the wrong affinities, and you'll make the Iron Twins even stronger. And they'll keep getting stronger every time they use this skill. You also need to manage your champion's defense stats, as those with higher stats will receive longer Iron Brand debuffs. Remember, the longer the duration of Iron Brand, the more damage the Iron Twins will do with their super-powered skill, which we're getting to, I promise. There is one silver lining at least. Once the Iron Twins drop below 40% HP, they'll stop using the skill, though getting them to that point is a different story. Okay, skill 3.
Alright, just pause for a second there. I know we're going to go into Ruinous Swath, and I can't wait to hear it. Swath. Yeah, so 1% defense for every positive affinity matchup you get. I don't think that's too terrible. It doesn't sound too terrible, considering how much harder you hit. But, you know, maybe how fast they cycle through the move or how fast they get the defense up matters. But I'm just saying, you know, to have that magic affinity just rocking on Spirit, I don't see it as that bad. At least just one champ.
Ruinous Swath. Ruinous Swath mirrors Fires of Insanity, except this skill applies Iron Brand based on your champion's attack rather than their defense. The champion with the highest attack gets the longest Iron Brand this time. It's the same story with the Iron Twins' stat increases. Every time they use this skill, they'll get stronger.
Okay.
But this time, it's their attack that gets boosted rather than their defense. The Twins will also stop using the skill when their HP drops below 40%. Okay, so you have all these Iron Brand debuffs. Let's finally discuss this super-powered skill which puts them to use. Enter Doomsday Machine, the Iron Twins' fourth skill. To start, the Iron Twins attack your entire team with 2 AoE hits. The first hit applies or extends any Iron Brand debuffs based on each champion's defense, with the second doing the same but based on attack. Think of it like the 2 previous skills rolled into one. Fortunately, it will increase the duration of Iron Brand by fewer turns. The champion with the highest attack or defense will get 5 turns of Iron Brand, the next highest will get 4, the next highest 3, and you get the picture. But remember, it does this twice, so if one champion has more attack and defense than the rest of your team, they'll receive another 10 turns of Iron Brand. The Iron Twins then fire a devastating laser at your entire team, with the damage of this energy beam increasing based on the duration of each Iron Brand debuff. If that's not scary enough, this searing ray ignores 30% of your champion's defense stat. And it also increases the Iron Twins' attack and defense by 4% with each use. Plus an extra little bit once again for any champions whose affinity is different to theirs.
There's
Holy moly. That's some serious damage. Also, just as a little reminder that Iron Brand cannot be blocked or removed, hopefully now you understand why managing Iron Brand is vital to succeeding in this fight. Otherwise, you'll be sweeping up what remains of your champions.
Alright, so it can't be blocked or removed unless you die. So you could actually probably build champions either to die, so they constantly get, cleansed. And then you could build a champion with just crazy high defense and crazy high attack. Absolutely no crit, no health, or, anything else. So they take all this super heavy amounts of this Iron Brand, and then they die constantly because they have no HP. So it doesn't matter that they have super awesome defense and super awesome attack. They're literally just a sponge for Iron Brand. So you just use that, and then they keep dying, and then you revive them so they absorb more of the Iron Brand, and it should keep the rest of your team relatively clean. At least, that's what I'm thinking right now.
With a broom. There's still one more weapon in the Iron Twins' arsenal, and that's their passive skill, Retaliatory Launch. Every time their HP drops below a certain threshold, the Twins fire a missile barrage at your whole team, then remove any debuffs from themselves. The Twins will also increase their turn meter by 10% every time one of your champions receives a buff, unless they're under a decreased speed debuff. Similar to other bosses, they are immune to turn meter reduction effects, along with crowd control debuffs like stun and freeze. They also take less and less damage from multi-hit skills. That armor's not made of normal iron, we'll tell you that much. So, what's the best way to send this killing machine to the scrap heap? First, you'll need to build separate teams for each affinity. The more champions with differing affinities, the stronger the Iron Twins will get from many of its skills. So aim for single affinity teams where you can. Second, resistance is your friend. While Iron Brand can't be blocked or removed, it can be resisted. So load your champions up with high resistance artifacts to blunt the power of Doomsday Machine. Third, while healing is important to survive the Twins' onslaught, be mindful of buffs. Unless you've placed a decreased speed debuff on the Twins, they'll increase their turn meter every time your champion receives a buff, meaning they're closer to taking you out. Fourth, and most importantly, focus on hitting hard and hitting fast. With the Twins' attack and defense constantly ticking up, they will overpower you if you let them kick into over.
Wait, a boss in Raid where you want speed and heavy hits? Ha! Man, that's a first.
Overdrive. Don't bother with multi-hit skills either. Single-hit nukes are your best countermeasure for toppling this devastating duo. We can't wait to see what ironclad strategies you all employ to take on this new dungeon. We hope this video was useful. Make sure to hit like, check out our previous Awakening preview, and subscribe for more existing Raid content. See you next time. Happy raiding.
Alright, so it sounds pretty cool overall. Even though I'm a little sarcastic here and there. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a pretty cool boss. I think it'll be a fun little distraction. I feel like it's either going to need a buff to make it tougher, or it's going to need, obviously some tweaking to make it easier. We're going to see how nasty it is. I like that they're putting something in the game that will probably have you start using resistance a little bit earlier. That usually tends to be more endgame type kits. You don't see too many new players using resistance. Maybe they're also trying to do that just to mix things up, to kind of like make people waste or squander their assets in more sets now, so it's even tougher to get that good set. But I mean, if you're new to the game, you have to fully ascend your champion first before you can put these awakenings on them, so it's not like you need to be focusing your energy on that champion right off the bat, so you don't have to squander all your time there. Anyways, overall, I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing. I can't wait to give it a go. No official date on that I know of. So, hope you have a good day. Feel free to watch a video suggested above. If not, I'm out.